Hello, this is Miguel Amigot, the CTO of ibl.ai, and showing you a kind of recruitment agent right now that runs on a dedicated sandbox, on a dedicated server, and basically gonna walk you through the process a little bit, and then show you how it looks from a usage standpoint, as well as how it can be managed. So let's start out with this request, right? So please find and record at least 5 people, potential students from Instagram, who have posted recently that they are interested in taking an AI course. Okay, so let's just say I'm looking for people for my program, and this is a signal that I know to be helpful. So now my agent gets to work. Okay, and let's see. Oh, use 11 tools. Let's see. So first, it's looking in its memory. So, all right, memory search, Instagram AI course search, actor performance queries. Let's see in its memory, right? If it draws something that is useful. Okay, I guess we didn't get much here, right? Because it's the first time I asked, so that's fine. But now it knows that, okay, it's going to activate Instagram, right? And it's going to also take a look at the CRM over here, right? And the CRM is 20. Okay, there are many CRMs. Obviously, there is nothing specific about this one. It could be Salesforce, it could be Slate, whichever, HubSpot. But it's taking a look. Hey, who do I have? Please, we don't want to hear the same ones. It's going to look at my user context. We can effectively go through a number of tools, and what's going to happen here is it's going to effectively say, all right, I want to, I want to find this, and it's going to come up with, let's say 738 Instagram posts. Okay, and this is basically the backend view. So now let's take a look here at what this looks like. So I help you discover and record at least 5 potential students from Instagram who are interested in AI courses. Let me start by checking my memory and then running a discovery search. Let me check the duplication cache, because we don't want it to be telling us about people who already exist. Okay, so let's see. All right, let me verify access to the CRM, because that's where we want to log it, right? Appify, which is what we'll use to crawl social media. And he says, okay, I'll search Instagram for hashtags and keywords related to AI courses. E.g. AI course, learning AI, artificial intelligence. Okay, so this is interesting because none of these hashtags come from my initial prompt. So there is traditionally over the last few months, the common wisdom has been, oh, you need to be excellent at prompt engineering, right? Prompt engineering is this entire science / art / both. And things are not going to work well unless you are good at prompt engineering. Well, this prompt's pretty bad, okay, but it's working, because it's able to say, okay, look, from this audience and from this context, these are the hashtags that I care about. So now I start to see, okay, I need to fetch the 20 data, whatever. It's going to look. We'll show you the files here that are useful for this. At some point, look, can you summarize the search results so far? So this is what it's found, right? So hey, here are the hashtags that I looked for. 738 posts, 45.8 seconds. Okay, $1.70. Well, I will take it. The comparable cost of going through this many posts would probably been a little bit higher if we had not used this. So that's fine. It's going to go through this, and it's going to find, okay, 2 distinct types of posts: course, educational announcements, 40% of the results, great. Universities offering AI and ML programs, online academies, okay, so on and so forth, industry news and professional discussions. All right, top 5 qualified candidates stored in the CRM. Okay, so now these are people who are posting. They're posting this publicly, but posting about transitioning into AI leadership role, actively seeking upskilling, and I actually look. This is historically right through other stuff, right? But I have my CRM, okay, so I can see that there's indeed a match, right, of people that have been pointed to. Okay, well, they are indeed now saved in the CRM, right? So now I can continue my CRM work with them. So that's great. Then I continue. Okay, so key insights and so on. All right, cool. So this is basically the usage. Now, what did it take to build this? Because this is also important, right? You have, I don't know, traditionally agents that have relied on people writing code, right? And then engineering is always a bottleneck and so on. Okay, this is not the case. It's not even complex flowcharts that are a pain. No, it is the way that this is conveyed is, so we have a sandbox, and that sandbox is effectively taking care of running kind of the queries and the code and so on that we're trying to do, right? It's not a simple agent that is just, hey, answer this with my data. No, obviously it's doing a little bit more work. You see it's making API calls, it's reasoning and so on. It's doing a lot. Okay, we have a dedicated sandbox for this. Now, because we want it to be powerful, right? So it means we have to have it be connected to a sandbox, to a special server. Now, if it's powerful, we don't want that server to be connected to us in a way that's going to harm us, right? So this is all part of the equation. I can determine my role-based access control. This is always a possibility. But the point is that, look, I can choose my LLM, all right? And I can choose my LLM from wherever. And then I have my prompts, all right? You're a helpful recruiter for IBL Business School. IBL Business School, not a real place as of the time when this is being filmed, but this is demo, so it's fine. All right, and then we have our identity. Hey, you're a student and recruitment and lead generation agent. And this is basically how it is. Hey, my job is to discover prospective students. What are you writing here is effectively what you would be writing if you had if you had somebody on the team, a human, of course, and you say, hey, we are looking for students. This is the kind of stuff that we care about, and this is our CRM. All right, so all of that is part of this. Then that's it. It's like, okay, you're not doing outbound messaging. Okay, somebody else will do that. That's fine. So you can keep going. All right, let's look at your soul. Okay, your soul, this is your core purpose, and you have respect for people. So this is where you would encode your knowledge as an organization. Hey, this is, or your code, your moral ethics, and all of this. Now, honesty about volume. Okay, privacy and compliance first. Publicly available information. Okay, so all of this is stuff that can come by default. This can be provided to you, so you don't have to worry about it. It can also be generated by a prompt. There are a bunch of other options, but the point is that you have control, and that's the soul. Now, there's the user context. Okay, so hey, why is this relevant? Well, because maybe I want to return queries or I want to return things that are relevant to me. Okay, if I am educating 6-year-olds, well, then it's very different than if I'm educating 26-year-olds, right? So I want to include all this information here. I have my tools. Tools are also important, right? Because we have, okay, here are the tools, right? Where you say, all right, this is the CRM that I want to use, right? Or this is another system that I want to use. And, based on your stack, right? If you say, okay, I want Salesforce, well, I'm going to integrate it one way. If you have something else, I'm going to integrate another, but you still see that it's text files, right? So we're not requiring folks, right, to write code, which is a huge unlock. Agents, so we've gone through these, right? But here we're saying, when I told you earlier that I had a pretty bad user prompt, right, which you were able to see, but it gets translated to something pretty useful. It's because we did the work earlier of saying, hey, this is actually your modus operandi, and these are the rules that you have to follow. Okay, so hey, yeah, I'm gonna give you a bad prompt, but this is what I want you to do. It's like you have somebody you work with, again, a human in your office, and you say, hey, check the students for today. Now, after they've done this so many times, you don't have to give extensive instructions, right? And that's the same idea. You put these instructions once, okay, the agents will take care of it. Likewise, there are other skills and so on that we could have, right? So if we say, hey, we want to interact with, Banner or something like that. I mean, any other tool